a cold
revenge with
Tuesday
Angie.
morning in London's High Court, the kind where the air feels too still, too expectant. Amelia Rowan, 28, stood behind her lawyer, heart thudding like a drum. Across the room, her father, Sir Leonard Rowan, a former MP and local power broker, pointed at her as if she were a stranger. "This girl," he said, his voice echoing off the marble walls, "only knows how to waste what she doesn't deserve." The judge, an old friend of his, nodded in quiet agreement. Cameras clicked. Reporters whispered. Amelia's palms were cold, but her eyes were sharp. She'd been waiting for this day, this betrayal she'd predicted ever since she found those photos of her father and the judge laughing together at a golf retreat years ago. What neither of them knew was that she hadn't come to beg for justice. She'd come to expose a scandal that would end careers. "Before we begin," Amelia said softly, her voice cutting through the courtroom noise, "I have something to submit into evidence." But before she dropped that bombshell, she needed to take everyone watching, every person waiting for her to fall, back to where it all began. "Let's rewind," Amelia said with a faint smile, her tone calm but weighted. Her story started 28 years earlier, in a quiet hospital ward in Brighton. That was the day she took her first breath, and her mother took her last. Sir Leonard Rowan never wanted to be a father, and he made sure the world knew it. While his political speeches praised family values, his only child was raised by her grandparents, Edith and Harold Rowan, people of grace, patience, and quiet strength. They took the baby home while Leonard returned to Parliament, already planning his next campaign. Growing up in their Victorian house by the sea, Amelia had a childhood filled with books, art, and laughter. Grandpa Harold read her bedtime stories about courage. Grandma Edith taught her how to paint the changing tides. The only thing missing was a father who cared. Every year, the same pattern repeated itself. Christmas cards signed by his assistant. Birthday gifts delivered with no note. Appearances carefully avoided. "He's a busy man," Grandma Edith would say gently. But Amelia wasn't stupid. By age 10, she'd already noticed her father's name splashed across newspapers beside photos of charity galas and award dinners, always smiling, always shaking hands, never once looking toward home. "Why doesn't he want me?" she asked her grandfather once, voice trembling. Harold took a long breath before answering, "Because some men confuse power with love, my dear. And one day, he'll realize how wrong he was." Amelia held on to those words like a promise. While her classmates showed off their fathers at school events, she had Harold standing tall in a suit, spinning her at father-daughter dances, making sure she never felt less than anyone else. University came like a whirlwind. Amelia earned a scholarship to King's College London, studying business and law. Her grandparents celebrated with a dinner that filled their small Brighton home with neighbors, laughter, and pride. Sir Leonard sent a printed card that read, "Congratulations, Amelia. Continue making the family proud." It wasn't even signed. But she didn't care anymore. The Rowans she loved were the ones sitting beside her, not the one posing on campaign posters. Then, during her second year, everything shifted. Harold began forgetting things, keys, names, dates. The doctor's diagnosis hit like thunder: late-stage cancer. Amelia spent every weekend taking the train back to Brighton, holding his hand through treatments, helping Edith manage the business empire he'd built decades earlier. "I want you to have it all," Harold told her one evening, his voice fragile but firm. "Every pound, every brick, every dream. You'll know what to do with it." When Harold passed away 6 months later, Brighton dimmed. The man who'd been her anchor was gone, and Edith's health declined soon after. Before she died, she whispered, "Never let him take what isn't his." At the reading of the will, Amelia sat alone in the solicitor's office. The document was clear. Every property, investment, and company share would go directly to her. Leonard's expression when he heard the terms was ice-cold fury masked as politeness. "Surely, there must be an error," he said stiffly. But there wasn't. Harold had made sure of it: airtight clauses, medical confirmation of sound mind, multiple witnesses. Amelia left the office holding the sealed envelope like it was both shield and sword. For a moment, she thought maybe that would be the end. But greedy men never let things go quietly. And Leonard Rowan had just lost his golden ticket. 2 months after Edith's funeral, the letter arrived. Thick paper, official crest, reeking of arrogance. Sir Leonard Rowan was suing his daughter to overturn the will. His claim? That Amelia was emotionally unstable, financially reckless, and unfit to manage a complex estate. Her solicitor read the words out loud in disbelief. He's implying you're incapable of handling your own inheritance. Amelia laughed bitterly. The same inheritance he ignored for decades. But beneath the sarcasm, her hands trembled. The man who had never raised her now wanted to strip her of everything her grandparents built. He's desperate, her lawyer warned. And he's powerful. He still knows everyone in London's political circle. Amelia leaned back, eyes narrowing. Then I'll remind them what happens when power meets proof. When the case file landed on her desk, one name turned her blood cold. Judge Stephen Carlisle. Her father's old friend from his Parliament days. She remembered seeing their photos in the Times years ago, laughing on a golf course, toasting at campaign dinners. The connection wasn't coincidence. They're going to fix the outcome, Amelia whispered. Her lawyer frowned. We could request a recusal. Amelia shook her head. He'll deny it. Carlisle's been doing this his entire career. That night, she went into her grandfather's study, flicked on the lamp, and began digging through decades of files and old newspapers. If her father wanted a war, she'd give him one, armed with receipts. Amelia found what she was looking for in a dusty album labeled Rowan Campaigned, 2014. Photo after photo showed Leonard and Judge Carlisle side by side, smiling, shaking hands, their wives chatting in the background. Friends for over a decade, she murmured, scanning the captions. Then she found a news clipping. Judge Carlisle attends Sir Rowan's charity gala, praises his moral leadership. Moral leadership, she scoffed. Her grandfather's voice echoed in her mind. Don't let him take what isn't his. Amelia began collecting everything, articles, donation records, event invitations. She built a file so detailed it could ruin both men's reputations. The next step was verification. Amelia hired a private investigator named Fiona Lake, a sharp, unflinching woman who'd worked on corruption cases in Westminster. Give me a week, Fiona said. If there's a trail, I'll find it. 7 days later, she returned with a folder thick enough to choke an elephant. Your father's broke, Fiona said flatly. He's drowning in campaign debt and owes hundreds of thousands in private loans. Carlisle has ruled in favor of 3 of his political donors in the past year. Amelia's chest tightened. So this isn't just greed, it's survival. Fiona nodded. And you're the target. Amelia met with her lawyer the next morning in a quiet cafe near Holborn. We'll submit a motion for recusal, her solicitor said, flipping through the evidence. Even if he denies it, this gives us leverage. Amelia sipped her tea, gaze steady. No. Let him underestimate me. I want him comfortable when I pull the rug out. The lawyer hesitated, then nodded slowly. Then you'd better be ready for a fight. Amelia smiled faintly. I've been ready since I was 5. The first day of trial was chaos. Reporters outside, cameras flashing, whispers about the Rowan family feud. Amelia walked into the courtroom in a navy suit that once belonged to her grandmother. She carried her grandfather's old briefcase, the one embossed with his initials. Across the aisle, her father and Judge Carlisle shared a brief nod. It was all the confirmation she needed. Showtime, she muttered. Sir Leonard's lawyer, a polished man with a voice like honey, began his case. My client is deeply concerned for his daughter's well-being, he said, gesturing dramatically. She is grieving, inexperienced, and prone to impulsive financial decisions. He projected slides of her travel receipts, company investments, charity donations. Evidence of recklessness, he claimed. Amelia whispered to her lawyer. He just showed the funding I gave to cancer research. Her lawyer whispered back, they'll twist anything. When Leonard took the stand, he delivered his lines flawlessly, decades of political performance on full display. I only want what's best for her, he said, voice trembling just enough to sound sincere. She's my daughter. I love her. But my father's legacy must be protected. Amelia stared at him, expression unreadable. Love? This man hadn't even attended her graduation. The judge leaned forward, nodding. Thank you, Sir Leonard. A father's concern is admirable. Amelia almost laughed. The script was unfolding exactly as they'd planned. By midday, the courtroom buzzed with quiet certainty. The case was going in Leonard's favor. Amelia's lawyer leaned close. If we settle now, we keep 40%. It's unfair, but… No, Amelia interrupted. We finish this. Her calmness unsettled even her lawyer. The court adjourned for lunch. While others left for sandwiches and small talk, Amelia sat alone, tracing her fingers over her grandfather's initials on the briefcase. You always said the truth doesn't need to shout, she whispered. It just needs to stand up. When court resumed, the air felt heavier. The judge appeared relaxed, ready to deliver a swift ruling. Let's proceed, Carlyle said. Amelia stood. Your Honor, before we continue, I request permission to address the court directly. Carlyle frowned. Ms. Rowan, this is highly irregular. So is being judged by a family friend, she replied evenly. The room froze. Reporters' pens scratched eagerly. Carlyle's eyes darkened. Proceed carefully, he warned. Amelia smiled. Oh, I intend to. Amelia reached into her briefcase and pulled out a single photograph. This, Your Honor, was taken at Sir Leonard Rowan's charity golf tournament, 2017. She held it up. You're standing beside him, shaking hands. Carlyle blinked rapidly. That proves nothing. Oh, I agree, Amelia said smoothly, placing another photo on the table. Here's you at his birthday dinner in 2019. And this one, at his campaign fundraiser in 2020. The gallery murmured. Amelia placed one more. And this, Your Honor, is from 2022. The two of you on stage together at the Westminster Foundation Gala. The judge's gavel hovered midair. His face drained of color. Where did you get these? He demanded. Public records, Amelia said, unflinching. Every photo taken by official press photographers. Everyone proving you've had a personal relationship with a plaintiff for nearly a decade. The room erupted in whispers. Amelia continued, voice steady. Under the UK Judicial Conduct Rules, judges must disclose any personal relationship that may create bias. You did not disclose yours. Her lawyer stood beside her now, confidence returning. We submit these as evidence of conflict of interest and request immediate dismissal of the plaintiff's claim. The judge swallowed hard. That's unnecessary, he stammered. The will is valid. Amelia leaned forward. Then say it on record. Carlyle's hand trembled. The will stands, he said quickly. Sir Leonard Rowan has no legal grounds. Case dismissed. The gavel hit once, twice. Too fast, too shaky. For a long moment no one moved. Then reporters surged forward, cameras flashing, questions flying. Leonard stared at his daughter, speechless. You planned this, he finally whispered. Amelia met his gaze. No, Dad. I prepared for this. She gathered her photos, calm amid chaos, and walked out while the judge fled through his private exit. By evening, every major paper carried the headline. Former MP's lawsuit collapses amid judicial scandal. Judge Carlyle announced his resignation within days, citing health concerns. Few believed it. Leonard's political career unraveled as fast as his credibility. A parliamentary ethics committee opened an inquiry. His allies distanced themselves. Amelia stayed silent, declining interviews. Let the truth speak, she told Fiona. It's louder than anything I could say. 6 months later, Amelia moved back into her grandparents' Brighton home. She restored the garden her grandmother once tended, repainting the fences white and planting roses by the stone path. You kept your promise, Fiona said one afternoon, visiting with tea. Amelia smiled faintly. They taught me to. Amelia took over the Rowan Group, modernizing every division. She introduced employee profit shares, environmental policies, and mental health support. The company's profits tripled within a year. You've turned legacy into leadership, her board chair told her during a meeting. Amelia replied, "Legacy means nothing if it doesn't help people." At a sustainability conference in Manchester, Amelia met Thomas Avery, a soft-spoken environmental engineer with an easy smile and an obsession with renewable systems. "You're Amelia Rowan, right?" he asked after her panel. "Depends," she teased. "Are you about to sue me too?" He laughed. "No, but I'd love to collaborate." That conversation lasted 4 hours. Thomas didn't care about her money or headlines. He cared about ideas. They spent weekends exploring the countryside, arguing about business ethics, and eating too much takeaway. "You're nothing like the person the tabloids describe," he told her once. "That's because they only print what fits the story," she replied. A year later, on a windy evening by the Brighton Pier, Thomas knelt with a simple silver ring. "Marry me, Amelia Rowan. Not the heiress, not the scandal, but the woman who taught me what integrity looks like." Tears welled in her eyes. "Only if you promise never to play poker with politicians." He laughed. "Deal." Their wedding was small, intimate, and perfect.